Conservation has always been my passion. It's just something that I enjoy doing, is improving the grass. I'm thankful to have that opportunity to do that. When I got the ranch, it was basically two pastures. There's sand hills and the river, and it needed some work. I separated it into the uplands, the river bottom, and the sand hills, and then put some divisions within those. As the time went on, I wanted to do more, and when opportunity came up, we took it a step farther. So we go from choppy sands to sub-irrigated river bottoms. So there's a lot of variation. Having those land classes separated allows us to utilize it to the extent that it needs to be, and then we move on and give it the rest. It's sure been enjoying watching the grass improve. To me, the real wealth comes from the land, and that comes from taking good stewardship of it and improving the soil.
I came on the scene in 2012, and Bill was already working with NRCS on a few projects here and there.
I've had a lot of partners help me through these years. Without that, we wouldn't be nearly at the level that we're at today. So one of the first things that we did was develop the water system. When we were going to have the cattle in smaller paddocks and group together in one herd for grazing efficiency, we needed to have a water system in place big enough to handle what we thought our future needs would be.
So we've kind of morphed from livestock water development and grazing plans and stocking rates to fully sustainable grazing year-round, cows on grass, and then really turned focus to woody plant invasion and beaten back woody encroachment.
I needed to address the eastern red cedars. I knew we needed to have fire. I didn't even understand, how do you get a fire break? So I got some help for the Partners program, and we started putting in fire breaks and getting ready to burn. So as we got ready to do our first burn, it caught a lot of attention.
I was here the day that Bill did his first prescribed burn, and we had a lot of eyes on us that day. People were skeptical, very skeptical.
And one of the first burns that we did was simply up in the sand hills. And then down in the river, we thinned a lot of brush.
The Cimarron River runs right through the middle of Bill's ranch, and Bill's inherited a pretty nasty, decades-long problem of salt cedar. It's a highly invasive plant. It's very prolific. It's hard to get rid of. It crowds out grass on what would otherwise be highly productive sites. Just a pretty nasty, invasive woody plant.
We burned that off, and the grass came back, and the plant stayed small. It stayed vegetative, growing like that instead of being a great big old bush out there, so cattle could get in there and get the grass within them. The fire's done a lot of good. It's been going on now for 10 plus years. There's a night and day difference.
We have a few more people taking notice of that. It's been a real breath of fresh air to work with Bill on his ranch.
It's important that the land gets utilized and then rested and has a chance to have full recovery. The plants fully recover for the next grazing event. You can get pretty stressed out in the drought when you see what's going on, the lack of forage, and you got to make some hard decisions. So having a written drought plan, I look at that plan, I look at trigger dates, and I understand the importance of them, and I can follow those and guide me through that, and keeps me on track, keeps me from overgrazing and running out of forage, and maybe hurting the land where it takes years to recover. So it lets me protect my most valuable asset, and that's the land. With the opportunities that we've been given on the ranch and the things that we've learned and the successes that we've had, we'd like to share those with other people. We think it's right to give something back when you've received something.
Bill's always been more than willing to reach out to neighbors and try to spread the good word conservation-wise. And he's been very successful at doing that. I really can't think of a more deserving manager than Bill to receive the Leopold Conservation Award.
I'm tremendously humbled and thankful to receive this. To me, as a conservationist and land steward, it's a high reward, and I'm very, very honored and very thankful to receive it.
A spokesman for conservation, not only in his own management, but in his ranching community. When I think of a deserving winner for that award, Bill's Ranch, that's where it needs to be.